and more I hear my children say, "You look just like grandma." You know, that's not as traumatizing for me as it might be for some people. My mother's a lovely woman, so that's not as traumatizing for me. But I was thinking about that, you know, as my time as a youth pastor, there were many teenagers who did not want to be like their parents. And not only that, I run into adults who say, I do not want to make the same mistakes that my mom or my dad made. I want to do something different. But guess what? They end up seeing the same patterns, the same mistakes echoing in their lives, and they don't know how to stop it. So I just was thinking about some ways, some helpful things that I had to walk through that might be able to help some other people. The first thing that I had to realize is that you have to stop making excuses. You have to stop making excuses for your parents. As children, you know, our parents are like God. You know, whatever they do, we think, oh, that must be what you do. And so we start that making excuses from a very young age. And that carries to adulthood. Even though as adults, we realize, oh, this really was not the right thing to do, we tend to make excuses for our parents. If you do not want that thing to repeat itself in your life, you have to come out of agreement with it. You have to stop allowing those excuses. Because if you make excuses for your parents, then you'll end up making excuses for yourself. No more saying, oh, they were really tired, or they worked a lot, or, somebody made them mad. Whenever you said made them, it's like, oh, somebody made them do something. Nobody makes you do anything, right? So we need to come out of it, agreement with those things. Stop making excuses and look at it and say, this was wrong. The next thing that I would say is to embrace knowledge. There's a saying that if people knew better, they do better. And so a lot of times our parents just simply didn't know any better. They just did not know any better. So how do you break that cycle? You have to get the knowledge. If your parents got divorced, they had a horrible marriage that affected you terribly, then get counseling, take anger management classes, do what you can to arm yourself and get knowledge. Not only that, but get some different role models. Be around healthy people so that you can retrain your brain. Children are little sponges, and what we do is we absorb our environment, and it teaches us how to live. You know, there's this saying, there's more caught than taught. It's not that our parents taught us how to be bad communicators. It's just that we observed them and we learned from them. So if you want to break that, you have to get around people who know how to communicate, and you have to learn yourself. The next thing I would say is intentionally do the opposite. If your dad would never admit that he was wrong, you be the first one to admit that you're wrong. And don't chalk it up, no more excuses, oh, we're Williamses and this is what Williamses do. No. You say, I am not going to do that. And you be the first one to apologize. Whatever your parents did that so scarred you that you said, I'm not going to be like that, then you must intentionally do the opposite. And the next thing I would say is embrace gratitude. We hear a lot about gratitude, and this is contrary. You think gratitude, if you're trying to get away from what they did, where does the gratitude come in? Well, when we have harmful feelings, anger and fear, what we're doing is we're actually keeping ourselves in those terrible moments and replaying them in our minds. And we're programming our minds for that behavior because that's all that we're keeping in front of our mind. But when you embrace the good, what was good about my childhood? What did my parents do right? And you focus on those things, then that elicits positive emotion. And that breaks that terrible cycle of thinking about all the bad that happened to you and then you repeating it yourself. When we do not forgive, we become like our abuser. We become like the people that hurt us because that's all we're looking at. Their bad attitude, their bad words, or whatever they spoke to us. And those things come up out of us. So if you don't want to be like your parents, you have to make the decision to do different. And you can do it. I know you can do it. All right, that's your food for thought today. Have a great day.